Welcome to the Eurostep Brit podcast.
Game's going to be decided here. Harold spots up, doesn't go, putback is good! Roberto Gallina with a second chance opportunity. Aris lead. Per Gunter for three, got it! Per Gunter drei Punkte. Courage inside, for Gordon for the dunk! Ball game!
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Eurostep Brit podcast. We'll call this one Prior Commitments. My guest this week is Siobhán Prior, whose family have been involved with basketball in Nottingham for decades. Siobhán was another one of your requests to get on the podcast, and in this episode we'll look at her basketball journey from playing days to her current role. There's a lot of insights into the highs and lows of the sport and the impact they can have. And it was great to learn more about her academy role and hopes for the future. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, Siobhán, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you on. What I did was, when we arranged this podcast, I started asking a few people, what would you like Siobhán to talk about? Mm-hmm. And so I've got a list of topics. I've tried to put them in sort of a chronological order, but we can go back and forth if need be. Sure. If you don't mind, let's talk about family. Would it be fair to say you were born into a basketball-loving family?
Yeah. So I would say that. Yeah, for sure. Basketball has been part of my life since birth and part of my family's life since way before I was even a thought in the minds of my parents, I think.
And it was your mum, Pauline. She was a pretty decent player, wasn't she, in her time?
Yeah, so mum played, and really dad wasn't a basketball person until he met mum. But yeah, mum played from secondary school. So she started playing when she was at secondary school. And then, yeah, she just sort of went through the ranks. She played at England for England at junior level. And then when they met, my dad sort of started to drive the bus around, and that's kind of how he got involved to begin with. He was more of a cricket and football guy. And then I think he just, like a lot of people do when they're exposed to the sport, they fall in love with it. And I think falling in love with mum as well kind of helped that along. And then, yeah, he started coaching, and dad had a really successful coaching career, I think, at Wildcats. But then I suppose his pinnacle would be he was assistant coach for the England senior women under Mark Clark. So yeah, both quite successful in their own right.
Do you remember when you first picked up a basketball?
I don't necessarily remember, but there are photos of me in Australia when I was 18 months old. It's one of my favourite photos, actually. Mum and dad had gone to visit an Australian player who had played at the Wildcats, and obviously brought me along. So first family holiday. And I've got a photograph of me and my dad walking down her drive. Dad's got a basketball under his arm, and he's obviously taking me out to do a few, reps at 18 months old. So yeah, that's probably my first memory, but really induced by a photograph.
And when did you start to enjoy basketball as a sport? Are you thinking, this is something I like playing, I want to play?
I think mum and dad were really conscious that I didn't feel like it's something that I had to do. Mum's side of the family is Irish, so we've got a lot of real strong Irish roots and heritage and connection to Ireland. So I grew up playing basketball and Irish dancing. Yeah, an interesting.
That's a skill you can use in basketball.
So yeah, I was actually quite successful at Irish dancing. I competed at the World Championships 3 times, I think, and then also at the same time playing basketball. But until I was about 12, the majority of my time went into dancing. I practiced every night. And then when I kind of got to about 12 and basketball started to become a little bit more serious, I just had to make the choice between the two, because I couldn't do the two I couldn't be as dedicated to both as I would have liked to have been. So
I want to skip forward just a little bit further from there. Talk about your time. How do you pronounce it? Is it Loyola? Is that you pronounce it? Loyola?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Loyola.
Yeah. You spent
Yeah.
4 years there. You did pretty well by all accounts. What was that experience like for you?
Um, Challenging, full of growth, as most challenging situations are, and probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, really. I'm a big advocate for going away for university. I think you learn so much about yourself. As anybody knows that's in the States now or that has been in the States, the NCAA is no joke. I was at Division One, so it's kind of all consuming. And although basketball had been such a massive part of my life and so all consuming even before I got there, you just can't really prepare yourself for it. And I really, really struggled my freshman year. I was on the phone to my parents constantly crying like every single day, waking up at like 5 a.m. thinking, what am I doing? Like, why am I so far away from home? Getting up at this time to go to the gym, and I think like on top of that, I wasn't really like playing. I didn't play for my first 2 years really until my junior and senior year. And then when I started to get a bigger circle of friends like outside of basketball, I had like a couple of really good friends on the basketball team. Devon, in my sophomore year, a girl called Devon Carey joined the team, and we were really close. But for the most part, a lot of my friends were other sports people, like lacrosse, soccer. And yeah, once I remember coming home the summer of my freshman year and like vowing to my parents that I wasn't going back. And they were like, well, you've not got a choice. You are going back. So they kind of like dragged me on the plane. And then I'm just so grateful that they pushed me to continue to be outside of my comfort zone, because I had the best 3 years of my life, like the next 3 years. And I would do my freshman year all over again just to do my last 3 years. So yeah, it was such an amazing experience. It's a beautiful community, Loyola. It's a small private school, Jesuit school. I've always gone to Catholic school throughout my life. So it kind of was such a familiar environment as well, I think. But yeah, just lovely, like a small school. I think it's about 9,000 students. Obviously, being the English kid on campus, everybody knows you as well because they love to ask you to say bottle and water and all of the rest. So, yeah, quite easy to make friends. And yeah, just a really lovely school where you just really learn a lot about yourself and you learn what's really important in life and how to live, with integrity. Their motto is strong truths well lived. So they really do try and push you to really be conscious about the choices that you make and how that can affect others and yourself, and how to have a good relationship with yourself. So yeah, just really grateful for my time there.
I suppose people remiss not to mention, how did that come about? Was that like a scholarship thing?
Yeah, so it was a full scholarship. It actually came about through, it was a coach who came to Nottingham from America called Jimmy Smith, or as he's more fondly known, Jimmy Jump Shot Smith. And he came to Nottingham, and I think because my parents were involved in basketball, this was when I don't know if it was before I was born, I think it was. And yeah, just befriended him. They obviously got built their own relationship and got involved in Nottingham basketball together. And that was his alma mater. So when it came time for me to look at those options, me and mum went out there when I was 15, and we knew some of the alumni through Jimmy. And yeah, it kind of just felt like a family straight away. And then from there, the coaches came over to watch me play here in England, and then offered me a full ride, which I was really grateful for. Yeah, so that's kind of how it came about.
I'd say, if I'm correct, when you left there, you were your team's leading scorer. You held the record for the most 3-pointers in the singles season. So you definitely settled there as you went along, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And I think, it wasn't easy. Practice is tough. Like every day, it's 4-hour practices we had. And I wasn't ready. Like my freshman year, I just wasn't ready defensively, especially. to be playing minutes. And practices were really tough. We had a really good senior and junior class. And so really freshman year was just about like building and learning, which I was okay with, but also it's not easy. Like when you step back and you think this is good for me, but then you put yourself in the day-to-day of it, it can be really tough. And then, yeah, sophomore year kind of went much the same. And then junior year, coach took a chance on me one time to start, and I kind of started since then. So yeah, it's definitely, and I think when I talk to the kids, we've got a lot of kids out in the States at the moment, and my thing to them, even before they go, is it will be like hopefully a really good experience for you, but it's going to be hard. Like nothing that's worth it comes easy. A little bit of a cliche, but it just doesn't. And I think, although it is my own personal experience and everybody's experience is unique to them, not playing for 2 years was really, really tough, but I grew so much out of it, and I got so much better as a basketball player because of it. And yeah, it made me really ready for my junior and senior year, and they went well for me. So I was grateful. In the end, I was grateful for the difficult 2 years. Maybe not at the time, but in the end.
Now, I only know you obviously since your WBBL days, but what was the plan for you after you left college? Did you go back to Nottingham or elsewhere?
Yeah, so I left. So I'd always sort of seen college as a stepping stone to playing professionally. So I got an agent whilst it was the summer of my senior year. He was really great, and he had some really big names on his books that were in the WNBA, and then he had like some lower level players like myself. And he found me a place in Greece. And to be honest, I was told to kind of really look into things when I left university, especially with Greece. I left in 2009, so financial situation across the globe wasn't great. And yeah, I was offered a really good contract for a starting contract. We were in Euro Cup, and then the point guard who played for Phoenix Mercury, she had been there the year before in 2008, and she was going back in 2009. So for me, that was a good sign. She never had any struggles getting paid or anything the year before. So I went, and we just didn't get paid for like the first month. And we were constantly like talking to the agent, and it just became a bit difficult, like where we were sort of sitting out of practices. The players didn't really understand why. It was just an awkward scenario. And then, we've kind of got wind that the president of the whole club, because it had volleyball and football as well, had basically taken the money and done a runner in the summer before I got there. Yeah, so just a difficult financial situation for them. And then, yeah, I just came home, and the Americans stayed until Christmas, and then they left. And I played then in I don't know if it was the WBBL then. I played here in Division 1 for the highest level that was for Wildcats.
I think it was pre-WBBL, wasn't it, back then?
I think so. Yeah. God, does that make me sound super old? Yeah, so came back and played, and then got another contract to go out to Slovakia to Rouge and Berak. But I probably in hindsight shouldn't have gone. They were amazing, really professional, but I was coming off of an MCL injury on my knee, and I wasn't ready. And then the following year I got offered some contracts in Division 2 in Spain. And I remember Mark Clark saying to me, it's a really good level, great stepping stone, you should go for it. And I didn't. And I think I'm not a big believer in regrets, because I think, cliche, but everything happens for a reason. But I think if there was one decision I might have changed in my career, it would have been, I would have gone for a second year. But I think because my first year was such a mess, I was like, and also because I had the comfort of everything that I like wanted and at home. Maybe not the level that I probably wanted to challenge myself at, but yeah, I think I just sort of I felt better being here and playing in the league here, and just wasn't really prepared to go out and face some of the same issues. But I think it's important that we talk about and we're honest about like the experiences that we have, especially like first year pro, because I remember going to some years later going to GB senior women's camp, and just like the general consensus of all the girls was like, your first year is a mess. Like that's just kind of how it is. You have to just get through your first year, much like college, I guess. And then it becomes easier after that. But yeah, I chose to stay home, and actually, in all honesty, I'm really glad that I did, because I had some amazing times here, and the club's so special to me. I'm so glad that I was able to help in a small way bring some success to it.
Even though this is an audio podcast, I know you're obviously at the arena today while we do this interview, because I can see the banners on the wall behind you. Just how important was it for the Nottingham Wildcats to get their own arena?
Yeah, I mean, it massively. It changed the game for us, really. I remember sort of growing up and following mum to training and dad to training, or even when I was training, when I was a little bit younger before the arena was built. And yeah, some of the gyms that we trained in were questionable. I remember one gym, not too far from here actually, where in the winter the floor would get so cold that ice would like come up through the floor. Like, yeah, the floor was like slippy. These days with health and safety, it just wouldn't have been allowed. But yeah, so it just a massive game changer. There's a guy who's passed now, Steve Clark, who my dad knew really well, and he was the head teacher of a primary school that's on the same site as the arena, and they kind of pioneered getting the money and raising the money and going to the council and getting the lease for the land. And it's just created a hub for us to enable growth within the club, like within the infrastructure. The nicest thing I think about it is that everybody's under the same roof, and that wouldn't happen before. Like different teams would train in different places, and now it's just really cemented that sort of feel of community and family that we have here. So yeah, it's been an absolute game changer.
During your WBBL days, you won a couple of league titles, you won a cup. Which teams did you enjoy going up against the most?
Sheffield. That was, and I think it was based in history. But I remember in the 90s, that was always the team that my mum, and when my dad was coaching, mum was playing for Wildcats, that they couldn't beat. And I remember those days, the finals were at Wembley. And I remember Betty Cardona always used to say to me, I vividly remember it coming out of a semi-final where we'd lost to them. And she said to me, do you want to come out in the final and be a mascot for us? And I remember being like, no, because my dad's going to get there one day. So I think, from young, that had always been like a healthy rivalry. And honestly, like when we used to play at home here at the arena, those were the games where we would pack the stands. It was just such a great atmosphere, and they had some great players. Like, I mean, back in the day in the 90s, they were amazing, but they had some great players when we played against them. I used to really love going against Steph Gandy, just a proper competitor, like left it all out on the floor. They were my favorite games. I used to really enjoy playing against Georgia when she was younger as well, and she was sort of like up and coming, and she always had that like chip on her shoulder as well, which I really like in players. They were always my favorite games.
And what about favorite teammates on the Wildcats?
Oh my gosh, there's been
they're sort of players you always enjoyed going to battle with, you know what I mean?
in the big games?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, for so many different reasons. Myself, and there was a player called Caitlin Flood who used to play here. We had a great relationship in a sense of we used to have the same schedule every day. So we'd go meet each other in the morning, we'd go for some breakfast, we'd go to the gym. That was I think the nicest sort of professional basketball relationship in a sense of getting stuff done together that I ever had. And I really enjoyed that. Going to battle every night, we had such good players over the years, like players like Ashley, Harris, Arlen now, Amber Stokes, Carmen Reynolds. Gosh, there was just so many great like imports that we had. Melissa Diawakana, she was phenomenal. And they just made your night so easy. Like you knew that they were going to go and perform every single night, and they made your game so much easier. I had a phone call not long ago with Dave Greenaway, who was my coach, and he said there was like a couple of years in my career where I just like really settled into, I enjoyed the role of just being alongside of them, and actually came like to a point where when it came to a time where we needed a score, I often came up with like big scores, but they were like the go-to, and it was just so nice to kind of not have that like pressure on your shoulders, but know that you were still like really important to the team and needed in big moments. And their sort of professionalism and the way they brought things to the table every single day so consistently made that so easy.
Let's finish talking about your club days. Was there like a moment, a game, or even a trophy that stood out as your favourite?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the first time we won the regular season, which was 2016. It's funny when you're in the regular season because it's kind of like anticlimactic in a way, because it's not like a big arena final with the banners and the confetti and all the rest. You often don't know where it's going to happen. You could be away, you could be at home, just depending on the standings in the league. But you know, growing up, it had always been Wildcats had always come up in second place to Northampton, to Sheffield. Northampton in the 80s, Sheffield in the 90s, and then you know, just growing up with that narrative, I really wanted, if you want, made like a promise to my parents that I was going to, you know, do everything that I could to try and to bring a championship to the Wildcats. Or to be part of a team that did that. And it was the first one. It was away at Northumbria. So there were like none of our fans there. My dad was there. He'd made the trip, especially because he knew if we won that game that we would have won the league. And yeah, it was just really, really special. It felt like decades worth of work that had gone into that, from, you know, mum and dad especially, but all of the other players that had gone before and who, you know, had looked after me like on the bus rides, or I'd watched, you know, and idolized growing up, watching them play. And yeah, it was just really, really special for me because I knew the history, I think. And for me, that's got to be, I mean, we had a nice I think it was trophy final, Birmingham, or cup final, one or the other. That was nice because it was in a big arena. You know, you got all the ticker tape and the "We Are the Champions" on sounding out across the stadium. That one was fun too. But yeah, definitely the regular season title in 2016 meant the most.
And let's move on to your international career, because obviously you got to represent England different ages, and obviously senior. You also got to play for GB. And I suppose the standout moment has to be the Commonwealth Games, Gold Coast, silver medal. Yeah. But is it true that you actually liked the toy they gave you more than the medal? And you might know who asked me that.
Dan.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that is actually true. I kind of got a little bit obsessed with it. It was called Borobi or Borobi. I was never really sure how to pronounce it. But it was a little koala little blue koala, and they had statues of him everywhere, or her, everywhere. And yeah, I just kind of got a bit obsessed with like looking for the statues, and I had dedicated a story on my Instagram, which is obviously shows the importance of it. Yeah, just thought it was really cute. And then the cool thing about the ones that you get when you get your medal is they're unique in that they wear like little silver. They have like little silver outfits.
So the medal colours then.
Exactly that. So they're special ones. Not everyone gets them. So yeah, I was really quite excited. But no, it was an amazing experience. It was a lot for me. It was a long time away, because we were in training camp before. So I'm a homebody. I found that slightly difficult. But it was so amazing, and I think Coach Chema, I'll never have enough good things to say about him. Just the environment that he created for players to do the best that they could do. I felt personally like in the minutes that I was able to be on the court, which was limited, but in those minutes I felt like I was able to play the best that I could have possibly played in those minutes. And for me, that was such a gift, because I knew those moments weren't going to come round again. And obviously it's a combination of age and maturity and a culmination of everything. But I think because of the environment that he created, and because of the other players there and the teammates that I was there with, it felt possible to be able to be your best self no matter what your job was on the day. And yeah, I just think that's such a gift, and I'll forever be grateful for that.
So we talked about your prize possession from the Commonwealth Games. What's the actual tournament like? Were England expected to get a silver in that competition?
I think the Commonwealth Games, it's always really difficult, isn't it? Because you don't know what teams people are going to put forward because of the time of year that the Games is in. But what we did know that was Australia had spent quite a lot of money in keeping their team together at home, and they were going to put forward, their strongest team. We didn't have some players who we couldn't get released. One of like the really last minute players that we thought was going to be there but wasn't able to be was Chantal. So it's kind of, I guess you never really know. But I think one of the things that, again, I really liked about how Chema approached things was we often just focused on us. We did scout, and Vanessa and the coaching staff did a really good job of doing scout and things that you would normally do to prepare for a team. But we mainly just sort of focused on ourselves, and it was about us and our journey as a team to get to where we got to. Really was the main sort of focus of us being there. So and that's quite an empowering thing, I think, when everybody's sort of pulling in the same direction. You don't get that a lot, and that was the environment that was created on the team by everybody that was there. So yeah, it was my first time at a multi-sports event. So yeah, just everything was kind of novel for me. The food hall, the athletes village, everything was a first timer, and just really, really special, really, really special moments and memories that it's really hard to explain if you kind of weren't there, and just leaves you with a lasting bond with the people that you experienced it with. No matter how many times you see your teammates or the coaching staff a year, or maybe you don't see them for years on end, but when you do see them, there's always that one common experience, such a special experience that kind of combines or pulls you together. So yeah, it was special.
One of the reasons I want to speak to you today was a lot of people asked about the academy. Now, just before we get on to the academy, what was it like for you, just a personal experience, when you decided, your playing days are coming to an end, making that transition away from playing on the court? What was that like for you?
Confusing. I think it was so multifaceted, and I think there were so many different things going on at that point of my life that it wasn't a straightforward transition. I mean, I think for a lot of the athletes, I've done quite a lot of FIBA programs, and I did FIBA timeout, and I've just finished doing the FIBA mentorship program, where you get to talk to a lot of athletes, and a big part of the conversation is always about transition. And for most athletes, it's not plain sailing. But I think, yeah, because it was so multifaceted, I found it confusing. I think there were, now looking back at it, it was definitely the right decision. But at the time, I don't think I was 100% sure that it was the right thing to be doing. You know, COVID for everyone was difficult. Mum had passed sort of 6 months before, and I was really, really struggling with that. And I think because Mum had been such a significant part of my basketball life, it was very difficult to understand what that looked like without her. Lots of emotions. I ended up having just a couple of like mini panic attacks on court, like coming off of court, which I sort of said to myself was, oh, you kind of overexerted yourself there. You know, you're tired, you can't catch your breath, kind of thing. Practice was a little bit the same. Like a couple of times I had to come out, and never had that before. I'd never had a panic attack before, so I didn't really know what that felt like, or knew what it meant, where it was coming from. It was at a period where I still go counselling every single week, and it's something that I think I'll always commit my time to for the rest of my life. It's really important for me to understand myself and my self growth. But that was a really poignant time for me as well. That when Mum passed, there were some things that kind of there was some sort of memories, I guess, that got dredged up that I hadn't even ever thought about. So just some, like, a couple of trauma pieces that I really had to kind of work through as well. There was a lot going on. So it was definitely for me the right decision at that point. And I don't think I don't think it could have gone sort of any other way. I was really, really grateful that I was part of the Women's Sports Trust. They had a program, Unlocked, which was an amazing program that I was able to be part of, that put lots of different athletes, both in their careers and transitioning out of their careers, female athletes only, on this program of learning about all sorts in the sports industry. Which was a real lifesaver for me. Every single Tuesday in lockdown, we would get on a call. It would either be a learning call or a catch-up call together. Mm-hmm. And that was perfect for me at that point in my life. And then I was able also to be on the FIBA timeout program, which again was really, really useful for me, thinking about what I wanted to do next. So yeah, I would say, like most athletes do, like, the transition was not easy. But the funny thing is, now when people say to me, when you watch, do you not ever miss it? Like, do you ever want to go back out? And I just have no inkling at all to be like out on the court anymore. It just doesn't, it doesn't appeal to me at all from a playing perspective. So yeah, it was a tough time, but there was so many organisations, Women's Sports Trust and FIBA as well, and the British Basketball Federation were great for putting me forward for some of those things, and that really, really helped me during that time where I was struggling, to be honest.
So, stop playing.
Yeah.
Take us through the journey now to the academy.
So, gosh, it's been a while now, hasn't it? So 2018 was where we were really laying the groundwork for it. And then 2019 was our first season. So yeah, a little while now, but I think, sort of moving on for talking about the things that helped me during my transition, I think one of the things that's always been such a support to me is family, friends, and obviously now my husband Aaron. I've got such a tight-knit supportive network that I'm always grateful for. But I think one of the things that I will forever be grateful for is that my parents worked so hard when they were building the arena, the club, once they had sort of taken over bigger roles within it. They didn't do that as a full-time job. Dad worked in local government, mum was working with Sport England, a manager in Sport England, before the arena opened, and she started to manage that. So they did this as like a volunteer position. And I'm just so grateful for that work that they put in, because it's created so many opportunities for me personally, but for other people to be part of the game after playing. And for me, when I was playing, that wasn't a reality, that, you know, there wasn't anything there. And like after I thought about stopping playing, I might have had to have thought about going somewhere else or uprooting. And I'm just really grateful that they were able to build something that enabled to just continually give back to not just me, but everybody that it's part of. So yeah, I took up, to begin with, it was a director role. And I did that up until last year. And then now I'm also doing that job alongside head coaching the WEABL. But it's a real passion project for me. I think the more and more I learn about myself, the more and more I know it's young people that I really enjoy working with. And obviously basketball, you know, is my passion as well. But the academy really uses basketball as like a vehicle, as a driver. As much as I love to win, and you know, obviously I'm known for being super competitive, but and so are the girls and the guys that are on the program. But they know that first and foremost, we care about who they are as people. And one of the beautiful things I think about the game, and not just basketball, any sport and the arts, and is it really helps you if you're willing and you're brave enough to be open and to be vulnerable. It can bring out the best and the worst in you. And again, if you're willing to, you can learn so much about yourself. And there's so many opportunities for growth that if you weren't in this environment, you just wouldn't have. You would have the opportunities for growth, but I just don't think that they come along as regularly and as consistently as they do when you're involved in an elite sport. And I think the main focus of the academy is that we use basketball and the environment and their team and their teammates and their coaches, the support staff, to help them grow as people, to learn about themselves and know what they care about and what's important to them alongside basketball. So that's a real big driver for us. And we don't just say that it's a driver, it really is. You know, it isn't talk, it's what we do. So, you know, there are challenging moments. We always say, and the girls always say to prospective student athletes, and the guys say the same, is that this is not a place to come if you don't want to have tough conversations, if you don't want to learn about yourself and try to better yourself. It's probably not the environment for you. We pride ourselves on the relationships that we build with the players. For me, that's with the girls on the team especially, but also the guys as director. Those relationships for me are key, because the better I get to know them and their families, the more I can support them and mentor them to overcome the barriers, the challenges that they have, and also to highlight and push forward on the things that really make them sparkle and shine. So yeah, it is what the foundation is built on. And really, when we try and make decisions, and we have to make tough decisions sometimes, we really do try to think about them first. I think I'm in, you know, it's a unique position being an academy coach. I don't know what everybody else's contracts around the country look like, but mine aren't based on wins and losses. Something that we fought really hard with in the SLA that we have with the school is that it doesn't matter. The wins and losses don't matter for the teams. What matters is their next steps. What do they do next? Where do they go? Is basketball part of that? Has it been a driver to get them to where they want to get to next, even if it isn't something that's part of their future after they leave here. So it's a really unique position to be in as a coach, and it's really freeing. It allows you to really make decisions based on the young people that you're working with. So, for example, we could have a game that is absolutely critical for us to win the league, and one of our, let's say, starting 5 has failed to hand an assignment in at school. Well, it's a no-brainer that player now cannot play. That's that's just that there are sets of rules, that the rules that the kids sign up to. Academics comes first, and I never feel pressured that making that decision. Yes, I want to win, and I want the kids to win, and I enjoy it so much for them when they do. But at the end of the day, that winning a basketball game is not what's going to help us to win in life, So I think we really do value the person first, the academic second, and then the basketball comes next. But yeah, that's kind of the ethos, and I just feel it's a special environment that we've managed to grow. I think we got a lot of interest last year from across the East Midlands. The academy has kind of been first and foremost for kids in Wildcats and in Nottingham, and that will continue to be the case. But we've had a lot of interest from outside of the club as well, and I think a lot of the times when the parents are talking to us about their decisions and why they chose to bring their kids to us is because of that environment and that atmosphere, and because talking to players and parents that have had their kids here previously and that have been open to the environment and to that growth kind of environment have had such a positive experience. And it is one of the things that the parents always say to us is, we want our kids to be challenged. So I think it's definitely a place for people that want to grow. And I think what we're starting to really attract is, which I enjoy, is the way that I was kind of raised was like, we don't take the barriers away. We don't take the challenges away. We find them difficult and we struggle through them, much like my college experience. You don't want to go back. You are going back. This is a good thing for you. You're just out of your comfort zone. So I think it's been really nice, over time, this year especially, just so many like-minded families where they really believe that challenge alongside nurture in a good balance is good for their kids. And I think sometimes, without sounding super old, I do think that's a little bit missing sometimes these days. I think we're maybe too caring or so caring that we want to take away the immediate challenges and barriers, and that actually isn't helpful. And we don't, it's not in the long run, it's not helping our young people. So it has been really nice to have the support of a number of parents this year within the family and those that have come in from outside that really believe in that. And yeah, it's really just a thriving environment in that way. So it's what gets me out of bed. I really enjoy my job here, and I just love working with the young people here, and just proud of everything that they managed to achieve with us.
What sort of age ranges of the academy? Where does it start?
So the Elite Academy, the full-time academy, is a 16 to 19 provision. So it runs alongside a sixth form, Nottingham Academy sixth form, that run a mixture of vocational and academic subjects. And then we run a full-time basketball program alongside of it. So everything is within the timetable. So team practices, S&C, we do some meditation as well. I do with my team, film sessions, individuals, all of those things are built into the day. So it's a full schedule. It's tough. It's definitely a commitment. So if people are, thinking about deciding to commit to that kind of pathway, it's not, and not just at our academy. I know at every academy, it's a big commitment. So we're really trying to teach them what it looks like to be a professional athlete or a dual career athlete. So yeah, for 16 to 19-year-olds, we do run participation programs throughout the school year for year 7 to 11 as well. And then obviously we have the club that runs alongside that, that's out of school hours, that's all the way from under 8s to Division 2, under 18s and Division 2, and then obviously SLB, W. So yeah, it's a whole range, but the academy specifically, the elite academy is 16 to 19 provision, so sixth form age.
What's your future hopes for the academy and the players within it, and of course yourself?
Gosh, it's interesting that this question comes up right now, because we're actually looking at our strategic plan for the next few years. So we want to continue to grow, and when I say that, growth to me doesn't mean winning an academy title. That would be great, and as a byproduct of what we're growing would be fantastic, and I would love to see the kids enjoy that. In the short term, for the men's side of the program, we're trying to get dice for that side of the program and for them to be in the EABL, so that's their growth point in the short term. For the girls, it's continuing to grow at the level that we're already at. So we have, a couple of GB players, England level players. So it's a high level program that the girls practice in every single day. We want to continue that and also expand that. So we're looking at different competition outlets for having more than one team at the women's level, because we've had such a lot of interest, especially last year and going into next year. And we think that as long as the infrastructure can support it and we get the funding, we have got a little bit of extra funding from school just to test this out for the this next part of the strategic year. We would like to expand the girls' academy to include maybe AOC teams and local league teams, so that the provision that the elite level athletes get that will play in the WEABL will also be filtered down through a number of levels of playing. It's no secret the Nottingham Wildcats, that the driver and the ethos is often female focused. If you talk to the trustees and the board of trustees that run the club, that is a big focus point for them. So it's no surprise that obviously the women's program is thriving, and we want to start to expand that even further and look at what that can mean for a whole range of athletes. And I think for the boys program, we're trying to get them to where the girls program is now. So that's kind of where we're looking for in the future. But really, it's just, for me, it's about a continuation of the ethos that we've created. And being able to implement and manage that in a growing environment, which sometimes I think can be quite difficult, and depending on what the infrastructure looks like. So I don't want to lose that. So I would rather grow slower or not at all in some moments, to continue to be able to provide that environment that we provide. That's more important to me. And it's more important, I think, for our young people. But I would eventually like to see us be able to manage and grow that and sort of widen the net of opportunity for the young people that can access the program. So that's sort of where I see it going. For me in particular, I think, I've been asked this question quite a lot, just recently actually in the GB interviews, just talking about, as you do, like your future goals and things like that when it's part of an interview process. But I think for me, I was so goal driven and goal orientated as a player that it would be quite easy for me to sit here now, and now I'm coaching full time, to be like, I would like to win this, I would like to be coaching in this, I'd like to be head coach of this team, and I really enjoy not having that outlook on it anymore. It doesn't stop me short-term and medium-term planning my life to death, because I think that's what we do as athletes. And I need like that positive reinforcement of, okay, I plan to do this and I did this. But I think I'm really happy right now to take coaching wherever it takes me, to just enjoy it for what it is, that I get to work in the game every single day. I get to work with young people that I really enjoy being around. And beyond that, I don't really feel pressured or inclined to have any sort of external goals or chases, which is a really nice place to be. So yeah, I'm just enjoying being in the job that I have right now, continuing to try and grow as a coach, and also a director. I've done a lot of sort of growth as a coach from like a mentor side of the game, and looking a little bit more at like possibly a little bit of CPD in the future, X's and O's, like a little bit more technical coaching. I might look at that. But yeah, right now I'm just enjoying it and just working hard each day to see how we can sort of better the opportunities for the young people that we work with. That's
great. I just love the insights, because I've obviously followed the professional game, so to get the insights in the academy for me has been very enlightening. We're going to change topic, because I've got one more topic to ask you on this list.
Sure.
And it's media work. Obviously, you've worked a few times on television with Mr. Daniel Routledge. And personally, I think you two work very well together when you're doing games. I know, obviously, the academy is your life, your focus, and I know you got a chance to do some more media work. Is it something you enjoy? Would like to do more of, if time permits, of course?
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's like the least pressurized position you can kind of be in. I think after being a player and being a coach, being able to sit and just analyze the game and not, like, whatever you do or you say or the choices you make have no difference on the outcome, is a really nice position to be in. And you always get the best seats in the house, so that's always nice too. But I've had such a great experience since I started doing media. I mean, when Dan and I started doing it for WBBL, we didn't, we didn't get paid for it. We kind of just did it because it was great for the exposure when we were on BBC, and it's just really grown and taken off from there, which has been really nice to see. So yeah, I've always had a great relationship with Dan. It's so easy to commentate with him. He's just such a professional. He makes everyone else's job around him so much easier. But we just have a great time. And I think there was a few years there where we spent on Sky, and the production team was Buzz 16, and that was fantastic as well. Just the group of people that were just a bunch of mates, really enjoying the game and enjoying like being with each other whilst helping to hopefully promote the game in a positive way, and enjoying doing media roles and growing and learning within them as well. So and then I've done some FIBA stuff as well, and traveling out to different tournaments. I've done the under-19 Women's World Cup, under-17 Women's World Cup. I did the FIBA Asia Cup as well, so they're always really cool. You get to meet new people and see how basketball works in different spaces and different countries. So yeah, again, it's just it just affords you so much opportunity to be part of the game that you love, but just in a different way. And like I said, I think it is probably one of the, for me anyway, personally, the least pressurizing roles that I've had within the sport. So yeah, it's lovely.
I look forward to hearing you on TV again this season. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. I've really enjoyed it, getting the insights into the academy and your career. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today, Siobhán.
No, thanks so much for having me. I've really enjoyed just speaking about everything. It's been great.
And finally, if you're enjoying what we do, please make sure to like, subscribe, or even share the pod on your social media. Every little bit of support helps. Until next time, my name's Niall Gray. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Eurostep Brit podcast, a hoops and hockey production.